Miguna. General, welcome, sir.
Thank you.
It's good to see you in one piece.
I've always been in one piece.
The last time we had a very deep conversation, and I remember there were very serious things that you did say, alluding to the fact that there was an assassination plot against you.
Yes.
And
those plots continue. Probably they are planning another one. But they don't bother me. I continue with my life without any distractions.
Very well, General. Let's just get into it. And I thank you for finding time because we've just addressed a press conference. And before we get into the swearing in, which a lot of Kenyans and the whole world is watching, waiting to see if it's going to happen and how it is going to happen. But NRM, the boycott, you've taken the lead as General and you have added a fourth company to the list that had been issued earlier. First of all, where are we in the boycott and where is NRM?
Well, first of all, NRM is not just doing boycotts.
Yes.
NRM is a movement for the liberation, the third liberation of Kenya.
Yes.
And liberation is a protracted struggle, which takes many forms, which requires many strategies and tactics.
Yes.
Some covert, some overt, and that is organized different from a political party.
Yes.
So the boycott, economic boycott or resistance is just one form. So what I was updating the country on is that so far, the boycott or resistance of Safaricom, Bidco, and Brookside have been successful because many of these companies have lost billions of shillings that they would otherwise have made. Safaricom declared in its latest report that it lost more than 20 billion.
20 billion.
20 billion. So that's a lot of money.
It is.
Now, I'm sure that Brookside has lost even more, and Bidco, because even women, the youth, men in the villages that may not have Safaricom numbers have been using milk.
Yes.
So Brookside products have been using the cooking oils,
right.
or the consumables. And there are many, many array of products from these companies. So they have lost billions and billions of shillings, which is an important lesson to them.
Yes.
That impunity does not pay.
Right.
That getting involved in politics so that you can subvert the constitution, democracy and the will of the people in the manner that they conspired to do with Jubilee will not pay. And we would want to bring them to their knees. So today, I unveiled a fourth company that has been involved also in this subversion of democracy since 2007. Chris Kirubi is notorious, not just as being a tribalist. He's a Kikuyu chauvinist of the worst kind, but he's extended his chauvinism to his corporate world, where he owns and controls Hako Tiger Industries.
Right.
So we've added Hako Tiger Industries to the number of companies that must be resisted, because Kirubi single-handedly conspired with Jubilee number 1 to sabotage the Kenya's economy for the last 6 years. And then was one of the major donors to the Jubilee government. And the first government, because this one is illegitimate. Even that one many people consider was illegitimate.
Right.
And he was also involved in the subversion of democracy in 2007. He was one of the architects of the rigging of 2007. So it was high time that we brought him and his corporate, main corporate entity, Hako Tigers, to book. So I listed quite a number of companies, and just some of them, because there are many. I listed the big biro pen.
The big biro pen.
The one that we use for writing. This one.
So this,
and there are many of them.
This should be the last time
The last time you're using it, me, I'm not using it.
Okay.
I bought it as a sample to
As
show
a sample to show.
to the country what products they should resist. And there are many other plastic products
Yes.
and other writing products related to Hako tigers.
Yes.
Then there is Hako plastics, and that includes the rulers, the gripping pegs that mainly women and anybody else can use for hanging clothes.
To hang clothes.
And we have the lighters, the big lighters.
Right.
We have the big shavers. We have also products that mainly women use.
Yes.
For high products, high care, called Mayadi.
Yes.
M-I-A-D-I. There is the TCB,
Yes.
herbal pomade, hair relaxer, hair dressing, texturizer, deep penetrating treatment, and natural neutralizing shampoo.
Right.
Then we also have the blue, and those are home care products. Then we have another one which is popular with many homesteads. It's called Sosoforst, a fabric softener and conditioner. Then we have a skin care that is used widely.
Yes.
Called Amara, glycerin. It also has petroleum jelly and also lotions.
Yes.
So these are just a sample of products
Right.
that we are telling our supporters and followers and patriotic Kenyans who would not want to encourage this culture of impunity.
Right.
And who are looking for a means of stopping companies from getting involved in politics, in ethnic profiling, in chauvinistic activities, in electoral fraud,
Right.
to bring Hako tigers to its knees.
Wow, General, let me just get comments very quickly because I mean there are thousands of comments coming in. Baya, you're saying General Miguna is absolutely right. Tibim. Ahmed Papa, you're watching. Thank you very much. Job, you're saying I am watching and we are behind you, General. Somebody here is saying he has just adjusted the volume to watch Miguna. Now, you did mention some things about Chris Kirubi. I mean, could this be perceived as a personal vendetta? Because Kirubi is one of the people who is listed as one of the leading entrepreneurs in the region. He's out there in universities giving talks about entrepreneurship, and you're painting a very different picture.
First of all, Chris Kirubi is not an entrepreneur, and he's not a businessman. He's a carpetbagger.
Okay, General.
Now, so let me finish.
Let's go a bit slowly.
Yeah.
There's demagogue, there's despot.
No.
This one is new, carpetbagger.
He's a carpetbagger.
What is carpetbagger?
So let me explain.
Yes, please.
He does not do legitimate business. A business is a going concern that sells goods and services. That's what a business does.
Right.
So a lawyer, for example, is a businessman or a businesswoman because we sell our legal services. A doctor sells medical services. We are also professionals, but I'm saying we sell services.
Right.
Then Hako sells goods and products like this.
Yes.
They either manufacture, or they brand, or they assemble, they package, they present to the market, and they get money from it. All right? Chris Kirubi made his money destroying companies and going concerns owned by the people of Kenya. All right? That is how he made his money. He did not make his money because he's an industrialist, because he's an inventor, because he's creative, so he can sing and do other things, that he's a good person who can choose assets. You buy low and you sell high. That's not his cup of tea. Kenatco, which was a profitable state corporation when I was growing up,
Right.
was headed by Chris Kirubi before he looted it to death. All right? Now, the supermarket that is barely managing to work, called Uchumi, probably in the ICU right now as we speak, has also been looted to death by Chris Kirubi. All his billions that he now uses to inject into other companies like Hako Tigers and Capital FM and the rest are funds that he looted from the Kenyan people. That's not a businessman. That's not an entrepreneur. He has not used his skills. He has not used his resourcefulness. He has not used his knowledge. He has not used his energy. He has not used his capital to make money, to become wealthy. He has simply come to the Kenyan people and picked their pockets. That's a carpetbagger.
Wow. But General, I mean, somebody could say, I mean...
And there is no anything personal between us. Chris Kirubi is the age of my father. So there can't be anything personal between us. Wow. Chris Kirubi comes from central Kenya. I come from Nyanza. Nothing personal there. Chris Kirubi is supposed to be a businessman. I'm a lawyer. Chris Kirubi is a carpetbagger. I'm a professional of integrity. Wow. So there is absolutely nothing personal. In fact, I know him personally. I have had no issue with him on a personal level. But it is common knowledge, it is public knowledge, and anyone with a modicum of intelligence can verify this. He was involved in the 2007 rigging, so he's one of the people that made sure Raila Odinga was not president in 2007, just because Raila Odinga is a Luo. Not because he had done anything wrong.
No, you're saying the only reason perhaps he will be involved, if you're saying, if actually that is true and, and verifiable,
it is true.
That the only reason is that because Raila Odinga is a Luo. There's nothing probably personal or business competition between them.
Let me tell you why it is not personal. In 2002, in fact, even going back a bit earlier, in 1998, Raila Odinga was the leader of the NDP, National Development Party.
Right.
He ran for elections in 1997.
Right.
In 1998, he cooperated with KANU and merged his party, the NDP, with KANU. And he joined KANU. Chris Kirubi was already a member of KANU. And Raila Odinga became the Secretary General of KANU, became a Minister of Energy, and there was no problem until Daniel Arap Moi imposed Uhuru Kenyatta on KANU and wanted to impose him on the Kenyan people. Raila Odinga left KANU and they formed the Rainbow Alliance.
Right.
Then Rainbow later on became NAC.
Yes.
So because the NAC coalition merged with Kibaki's DP and other parties, and they formed the government of 2002.
Yes.
When Raila was in government in 2002, is the one who actually won that election. As you recall, Mwai Kibaki was in the UK, was sick, indisposed, could not campaign, and did not campaign. The only person who campaigned for the 2002 election for NAC was Raila Odinga. He won that election. What did they do? When he was campaigning all over Kenya, they call him Jamba. They call him a warrior, a hero, a gallant fellow. So it was good when he was scouting for votes, when he was hunting for votes. Once Kibaki formed government, and Kibaki was now minister, the first person he kicked in the crotch was Raila Odinga. Crotch.
I hear you.
Then he started fighting Raila. Then eventually, the MOU was breached. Then Raila left or was kicked out from NAC. Then we had the referendum of 2005, which Raila won. So that was another win. Then, so Chris Kirubi's history is known. There was nothing personal. Raila was good when he was working for them, when he brought them victory. He's bad when he's seeking the same power that he gave Kibaki. So it can't be Raila the person, because he has worked with Raila the person in KANU, and he worked with Raila the person during the NAC government, and clearly during the coalition government following the rigging of the 2007 elections. Again, they had no problem with Raila. So the only thing, and Chris Kirubi is known as a chauvinist, the only thing I can see is the mortal fear, the pathological fear of a Luo as president, and the determination to lock them out of leadership in this country and stigmatize them, make them look like outlaws, make them poor, make them desperate, make them do things that would make people think that they cannot lead. And that we cannot accept.
Well, lastly on that, General, I mean, don't you fear being sued? I mean he's a man of means.
You can't, no, they can't. My friend, I am not, means mean nothing, particularly stolen means. The only thing that matters in life is this, because you cannot buy it. There's no market for the brain. So they sue me and I just go with my brain, and they can't win.
So you will not be worried that Chris Kirubi will sue you for your statements?
Let him sue even 1,000,000 times. I'm waiting. He can't sue. Uhuru can't sue. Ruto. I've said worse things about Ruto and Uhuru. They have sued other people. How come they have not sued me? Because they know. They can sue the minions, but they know it is battle royale when you come to my court.
Well, you're watching Opinion 2018, and it's 101 with the NRM General Miguna. Wow. Battle Royale, you say?
Battle Royale, they know.
Okay, let's go into another issue, General. Githu Muigai has proceeded to court to seek the court to declare the People's Assembly illegal. I mean, what's the legal perspective of that?
It's laughable because, as I tried to explain yesterday elsewhere to the Kenyan people, the heart of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 is the Bill of Rights. The right of conscience,
yes.
The right of assembly,
yes.
The right of speech,
yes.
Free media, picketing, demonstrations. That's part of the Bill of Rights.
Yes.
You can only limit these rights in a democratic society,
right,
if it can be demonstrated that the limitation you are seeking to apply is acceptable in a free and democratic society. Now tell me how Githu can even convince a gardener, my gardener, that assembling is not good in a free and democratic society. Forget about a judge. I'm just talking now a gardener who has not gone to law school. Now you want to meet with him and tell him that if he goes and meets with his fellow gardeners and they are talking, that is illegal and it's not good in a free and democratic society, they would laugh him out of town. So it cannot happen. Tell me how Githu is going to say that a county assembly that is elected by the people cannot meet and deliberate over public affairs, whatever they are, and find a resolution. Tell me how they are going to convince the court that Kenyans, even as sovereign people, citizens of Kenya, cannot meet at a national convention and make declarations on what they would want to do as Kenyans. Well, he can't succeed.
Is this a change of heart? Because when the People's Assemblies were beginning, I mean, many of Jubilee legislators and supporters actually laughed it off as a non-entity. What informs this latest stance to try and use the courts to stop the People's Assembly?
No, you see, these are undemocratic, retrogressive people who do not want the power that the people have to be exercised by the people. They want the people to cede that power, number one, to computer-generated leaders. Most of these people were not elected, including ODM leaders. Most of them were not elected. Most of them were selected by Jubilee people. They say, you know, in this constituency, it's better to have so-and-so. It's better to have so-and-so. So they must admit that there was no legitimate election that we've had. Even with that legitimate election, Raila still won. But I'm saying it was a mess. So now they realize that they have exposed us as having no legitimacy because when we conducted a coronation ritual on October 26th, nobody showed up. Now they want to have other platforms to be able to expose us. Let's close all the platforms. Let's make sure they don't meet at Uhuru Park. Let's make sure they cannot demonstrate. Let's make sure they do not gather. Let's make sure they don't assemble. Let's make sure they don't speak. Let's intimidate judges. Let's threaten these people so that we can rule without any question. And of course, the West are encouraging it because they want stability. Just the absence of bullets to them is stability. And we are saying no. No, sir. No, ma'am. We are not going to accept that.
On this matter, lastly, General, isn't Gideon Muigai supposed to be giving an objective opinion? He's supposed to be the legal advisor of government. So who is he working for?
No, I think somebody would have to be living in their own world, maybe another parallel universe, to reach the conclusion that Gideon Muigai is objective. The word objective and Gideon Muigai is like day and night, so they can't mix. Gideon Muigai is a partisan Jubilee hack, notwithstanding the fact that he has good credentials when he was appointed. Most of these people have good credentials. They went to school and whatnot, but they are morally contaminated. I keep on saying integrity is the software of leadership. Leadership is not just in elective posts, it's also in appointive positions. And Gideon occupies a position of responsibility where good judgment, neutrality, equidistance would help a professional to make objective decisions.
Right.
But he can't extricate himself from the people who appointed him, the Jubilee mandarins. Because without Jubilee is nothing. You see, most of these people were made by the ethnic chauvinistic machinery, the elites coming from these so-called groups, the Kikuyu, for example, not the majority of Kikuyus. The majority of Kikuyus don't gain from what these guys are doing. Most Kikuyus have not grabbed the land. Most Kikuyus are not wealthy. Most Kikuyus are not getting the tenders. The tenderpreneurs are these rich elite, like this Kirubi and Anwaiguru. The majority of the Kikuyus are just misled into thinking that these guys represent their best interest. These guys have stolen most of the land from them. They have jiggers, they are unemployed, they are on the street hawking, they are dying like everybody else. In fact, they shoot them like flies and they don't feel anything. So the majority of the Kikuyus have absolutely no interest and should have no interest in these people's leadership, nor do the majority of the Kalenjins. That's a fact. But the newspapers, the media and whatnot have made it look like there is anything else other than this. So that when we speak, they want to caricature us into mascots and try to depict it in a way that is not appealing to the citizens. And we must be able to deconstruct and debunk that. That is what we are doing. So in NRM, we are doing many things. We are selling our narrative.
Okay.
We are speaking directly to the people. We are telling them what the problem is.
Right.
We are telling them what the solution is.
Right.
And we are telling them we have the strategy and tactics and courage to execute.
So all communities should have confidence in NRM because there seems to be a sense of phobia from particular areas.
No, there is none. I'm telling you, I'll tell you, when I went to Ruiru last week to buy chicken, I buy my own chicken. The Kikuyu youth surrounded me and gave me high fives and told me, Nyorosha hawa kweli kweli.
Are you serious, General?
That they love the way I deal with Wamatangi in the morning. They told me in Ruiru last week, on Tuesday, in Ruiru town.
So you're saying the likes of Wamatangi and his colleagues do not actually represent the interests of the people?
They don't. And I'll give you another example. I've traveled to Mombasa the last 2 weeks twice. Same reception. I traveled to Western to go and bury my comrade Nabi's wife. May his soul rest in peace. Uniform embrace. On the way, as I was driving, I made stops in Nakuru, in Eldoret. Same. When I went to Voi, other than the choreographed hired guns there, the few that were shouting after the case, uniform welcome. There is nowhere in Kenya I've been, in Nairobi particularly, where you can say that I've received rough or unacceptable reception. If I had, it would be in the papers. They are very quick to report on anything. Even if Miguna sneezes, it would be reported that he's sick, he's dying. So when you see them not reporting things, you must know everything is good.
Very well. Let me just go through 2 quick comments, then we get the last bit of the discussion. Kenya should wake up to colonial history to understand that leadership in Kenya and the strategical positioning of particular persons to allow them to steal. That is Regan. Nancy Tumaini is saying, true, Miguna, they are poor because of their leaders are mean and greedy. Nyakindu Grace is saying, I love Miguna.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know.
You can see that is a representative of Kenya, my friend. I mean, this thing is live, right?
Yeah, it is live.
Everybody has access to this.
Yes.
And you are reading them sequentially.
Yes.
So, and you didn't have the opportunity to screen anything.
Yeah.
That's how Kenyans are feeling.
Very well. The last bit of this discussion, if you're just joining us, this is Opinion 2018, and we're hosting the NRM General Miguna, swearing in. This is one thing that there's a section of Kenyans that are insisting must happen come what may. But it also strikes
75% of Kenyans.
Yeah, it also strikes fear. General, is the swearing in going to happen on the 30th?
Anything that is not important cannot strike fear. So this is important. Anything that does not threaten the status quo would not be talked about the way this thing is being talked about. You see, if it was nothing, if it was hot air, if it was going to result to nothing, you believe people would not be trembling about it and threatening us about it, including death, treason. Godek would not be camped at Capitol Hill, going there every day.
Is that the
He
US?
lives at Capitol Hill.
Is
right
that the
now.
US ambassador?
The US ambassador right now almost lives at Capitol Hill.
Looking for
begging for non-existent dialogue. If it wasn't important, if it wasn't that significant, the country would not be at a standstill emotionally. The country would not have refused to move on. Women, and I can tell you literally all women in Nyanza, Western, Coast, Cumberland, and Nairobi, sections of the Rift Valley, are walking with Bibles in their bags, just in case they see Raila Odinga so that they can try to swear him in on the street.
On their own.
They are walking with bags, they are carrying they say, Raila Odinga, if it is a question of the Bible,
I have it.
we have the Bible. Each one of us. Choose which one. Because you know people like whatever Bible, whatever version. They have all manners of Bible. They are walking with it in bags. They are waiting for Raila Odinga. Anytime they see his car, they're running after his motorcade. They want to swear Raila Odinga anytime, anywhere. So it has gripped the nation and the imagination of the nation. It has crystallized the grievance of the nation. It has brought energy to the movement. Now, our responsibility as leaders is to focus it, to execute, and to deliver without compromise. When we do that, the built-in energies that have accumulated for 55 years will explode in a manner you have not yet come to understand. And we would direct it where it should be directed. And these 2/3 would be history.
Well, General, I mean, if you're saying energies that perhaps we've not, let me just go through this quick. Elijah Njoroge, I mean, I was supporting NASA and I lost the job. Miguna talked to me and send me your number. Well, Elijah is saying Elijah Joroge is saying he lost his job because he was supporting NASA. Well, we'll see what we can do about that,
and
Elijah.
the thing is, we are not responsible for the loss of
No. Actually,
whoever victimized him.
Yeah, he's saying he's a victim.
The one, yes, whoever has victimized him is the one we must blame.
You're right.
Of course, people would be victimized.
Right.
I've been victimized.
Right.
But you see, anything not worth a sacrifice is not worth it. There is no dividend, there is no gain that you're going to get in the end. So that's, unfortunately, I'm sorry, is one of the sacrifices we have to make. Many of us are making, there are financial sacrifices. Some people are paid with their blood. There are 18 youth that died just traveling between Jomo Kenyatta International Airport and the CBD, mowed down by. It is the Mungiki and the Uhuru despots bringing the police to kill people. But let me warn you, and let me warn the country. Nobody can shoot their way through 1 million people. You can't. You would have to be crazy, because you can't. You don't have enough ammunition to shoot a million people, and there will be more than 1 million. They will be there. 2, our followers, particularly NRM members, have my full authority to defend themselves. We have a right in the Constitution for self-defense. You stand your ground, you arm yourself if attacked, and you fight back. We are not, no, listen to me.
I'm listening, General.
No,
I'm listening, General.
Please.
Okay.
We are past running. So we are not going to run. We are past, far past, crying or mourning. I'm definitely way past fear. I'm not a sentimentalist. I don't fear. I don't mourn. We will do that after the liberation. After we have liberated this country, I will spend all amount of time to mourn. But right now, that's not the time for mourning. Right now, the time is to fight for our rights. And we are doing that in any way possible, by all means necessary.
But General, can you be misunderstood or misconstrued to be calling for war?
Well, listen to me.
Are you calling for war?
No, I'm very clear. I have said our people are not going to run. I have said our people are not going to surrender. And I have said our people are going to defend themselves. Now, whatever else you want to call it is your business. Umkhonto weZizwe in 1964 did the same thing. Without Umkhonto weZizwe defending the African South African, okay, under the apartheid regime, if they had just followed Chief Buthelezi and Lutuli into peaceful protest, you run around the street and you are killed like dogs, we would not have a free South Africa. We are going to have freedom here by all means.
But
we have the right to exercise our sovereignty.
It's supposed to be a climax of it's a celebratory event.
It is,
yes.
And we intend it to be.
Right.
But my directive to our members is this. I understand that Moses Kuria and Ferdinand Waititu and the women representative of Kiambu and Alice Nganga are training Mungiki in Kiambu to attack predominantly our estates in Nairobi. That's the information we have. Now, if these people, and they have already announced, Moses Kuria said, threateningly, that they are going to circumcise Luos at Uhuru Park on the 30th. Should they come with the intention of fighting our people, our people have the full authority to defend themselves. Now, it would be criminal for any one of us to tell our people that when attacked, run away. When attacked, raise up your hands. When attacked, allow yourself to be killed and injured and maimed. That would be criminal. And I'm not a criminal. So I'm going to say, be peaceful, like Malcolm X said. Don't offend anyone. Be respectful. But if anyone puts his hand on you, send him to the cemetery.
General, I mean, this is painting quite a different picture. Why not involve the police? If
the police are the ones killing the people.
If there's this information
No,
that
my friend.
a certain group of people is being trained somewhere.
Don't be naive. The police know. Moses Kuria is a member of parliament. And he posted the threat. Do you understand? And it was reported in the media. So if I knew and you know, what makes you think the police does not know? If I'm the one who said, I'm going to circumcise anyone by force, I would have been arrested. So what I'm saying is that don't be naive. We don't have a national police service. What we have are Mungikis in uniform. And when you have a Mungiki in uniform, you don't go to them to report that you are not with them. Because number one,